Just a bit of a pre-screen with Andrew Henson. He is a LIMS developer. Andrew, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi there. So my name's Andrew. I've been a LIMS developer for probably the past 5 years. Worked in the area for COVID testing, and then moved on from there to environmental testing. Sexual health was the last role, and now I'm looking for work.
Amazing. Okay. So for part of this position, we can appreciate that Labware LIMS was the front runner. However, Andrew, having this in mind and perhaps a potential hurdle, talk to us a bit more about your exposure with LIMS when it comes to bespoke, the exposure there and how extensive this is and how you think this can counter this necessity for Labware.
Sure, yeah. So when I joined the laboratory Milton Keynes, I had no exposure to LIMS at all. So I learned on the job the LIMS Infinity that we were using there. And then likewise, when I got my next contract, Eurofins, they were using a LIMS called eLIMS. And again, I had no experience of that at all. So the beauty of kind of people like myself is we go into a company not really knowing anything about how it works, and then we very, very quickly get up to speed. My offer to you would be that, if I was successful, I'm more than happy to pay to go on the admin courses for Labware. And that will get me up to speed as one who's been using it for years.
Amazing. Okay. A quick side note as well, having worked with Andrew prior, we actually have placed him through IT Work successfully, showcasing his ability to be agile, of course, his involvement with working within the private sector as well. He's very much adaptable in that sense. Andrew, in regards to your knowledge and experience of programming languages, talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I started off life with VBA with Excel, and then I moved on to VB6, and then now I do everything in C#, either core or .NET framework.
Amazing. Okay. I guess as well, just wanting to fixate a little bit on the type of LIMS. I have this conversation a lot with clients, perhaps from the offset, they are seeking someone with a particular LIMS exposure as opposed to other ones. So a great example of this is WinPath Enterprise in the public sector. So they look for people to come in with WinPath experience just for the sake of being able to hit the ground running. So not wasting any time on training and having to be run up to speed. So I guess your thoughts on that. Do you think having your Labware, well, not having Labware exposure, do you think that puts you at any sort of disadvantage?
I suppose compared to somebody who has Labware experience, slightly, but as I said before, I'm very quick learner. Labware Basic, from what I've seen, like asking ChatGPT for some examples, is very basic to get your head around. So I don't think it's going to be a huge problem.
Okay, so perhaps where you fall short with that particular exposure, talk to us a bit more about your time at Eurofins. I think appreciating they're hugely established within the LIMS space.
Yeah.
I guess that's a brilliant place for you to acquire and develop those skills. So talk to us a bit more about Eurofins in particular.
Yeah, so when I was brought on to work at Eurofins, they had a number of screens that you could create, and you had like a basic language that you would use to add functionality to screens. And it quickly became obvious that this was a LIMS migration project. So it was quite exciting to be heading the migration from their existing LIMS to the new LIMS.
Amazing. Okay, so for this particular position, you would be looking at working within a team of developers, perhaps taking a stance of managing, leading the team in particular times. So talk to us a bit more about your experience with managing a team, working alongside other internal developers. What's that experience been like?
Yeah, so again, when I was working at Eurofins, we had a team of developers over in India. And at one point we had them over to visit to help with some development work. So while they were here, I was managing their time and making sure they were kept with things to do and they're busy, and providing some support. We had some junior members of staff join, so I was assigned to help them and be their mentor, checking their code and giving them any advice that they needed to help develop the screens that we needed in Elims.
Amazing. Okay. So it sounds like you have got an element of functional ability, obviously taking on management of a team, working with internal developers. I guess fixating on technical ability. So this role is very technically embedded. You are expected to develop the system and support with that. So in as much detail as you possibly can, provide us with an overview. You know, when it comes to your technical ability, how extensive is that?
Um, I mean, I suppose from technical ability, I've written software in, like I say, C#, using SQL Server, like inline scripts and stored procedures. Um, yeah, it really depends on the job. Once I get there and I can see what you've got, it won't take long to work out what I need to do.
Amazing. Okay. Talk to us a bit more about your past experience with stakeholder management and influencing skills.
Yeah, so quite a few companies that you're in like higher level meetings to report on progress and get feedback.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Andrew. That was brilliant. In terms of your availability, when would you be looking to start work?
Probably within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, I mean, in relation to what it is you are looking for, do you think that you fit the bill for this particular role?
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, I feel I'll be perfect to join your team.
Amazing. And just to reiterate, we have placed Andrew 3 times across the private sector. He's a great asset to any development team, very agile and very charismatic at the same time. He's brilliant.
Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Amazing. Thank you. Bye bye.